I think we're live on YouTube. Let me get Facebook going. Get my legs crossed. Got my sweat going. Jesus, good Lord. It's a scorcher today. Ouch. Ow. 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 I wonder if I can go live on Twitter. Let's see. I'm gonna check this out as we're waiting for everything to start working. Maybe. So I could do that. I can do that. I can click media. Nope. No, I can't. I tried. So I'm going to copy the link here. Copy. And then we're going to go over here. And I wish that the show was in like better order. But to be quite honest, this is the chance that I've had to do it. Wait for it. So I go over here and then I click future stuff. And then there I'm live. Hey Bree, what's going on? Cousin Bree. Brokeback Bree. Cousin Bree. So there's the YouTube link if the show sucks. Over here on Facebook. Bree, what you want to talk about? Everything's going to shit. That's what I was going to talk about. That's my show for today. By everything going to shit, have you paid attention? Like, I know you had a lot going on, but did you see any of the news over the last couple weeks? And also, if there's anybody else there, like in the comments, could you let me know? That'd be good. Maybe I can start from the top. Hi, my name is Jacob Robertson. I'm a real estate agent in the Pacific Northwest. If you know anybody who's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Number 1. Number 2, I'm a dad and a husband, and I'm damn good at both. Number 3, I am damn good at knowing what the hell is going on and being able to call fouls and BS. You remember when, oh my God, the Russian coup, Piroshki from the Wagner group, and we're all Wagner now, is gonna kill the Putin. And I even have receipts on that one where I was like, you guys should just go hang out with your grandma, okay? Don't pay attention to the news. Don't wait for, like, Russia to collapse, because it's not going to happen. And it didn't. I was right. I was wrong about some stuff. Like, when I heard that, I was like, Prigozhin's not going to try to topple Putin. He's not an idiot. And then I discovered a number of things. Number 1, Scott Adams, the guy who writes Dilbert, is working with the CIA. Number 2, it's good to have on-the-ground sources. And so I haven't really commented that much on what's going on in Paris, because I don't know what's going on in Paris. Bree, did you know that there's stuff going on in Paris? Bree, did you know that there is crap going on in Paris right now? And what do we have to talk about? Like, the DeSantis campaign is a scam. RFK's campaign is a scam. Everyone is stupid. The boat crap, the submarine crap, like, the boat was way worse than the submarine, and everybody was glued to the submarine because John Durham was busy talking to the Congress about how corrupt the Congress... Actually, I'm sorry, the lettered agencies are. And what else was going on? Oh, yeah. Allegedly, Hunter Biden had the goods showing that his dad is taking money from the Chinese. Wait a second. What was that, Jacob? Our president is taking money from our chief adversary? You bet your ass off he is. And so, like, there's all this nonsense going on. It's like, man, how am I going to do a show? Oh, I'm not going to do a show because I have COVID. And then my kid had COVID. And it was way better when I had COVID. Because, good God, I wish, like, man. And it's not that she got that sick, Cousin Bree. Like, she was sick. She felt like crap. But she's a miserable asshole. Like, that's, excuse my language, but man. Cordelia, if you're watching this in the future, I apologize. Oh my God, I just doxed my name. Hey, if you're watching this in the future, you're being a jerk when you had COVID. And really, it was that she wouldn't take her nap. So not only is she, like, does she have the cold from hell, she's not going to sleep. So it's like a double whammy. Man, I need to... That fish oil has been there a long time. I've got, like... I might have gone crazy in 2020. You can't comment on YouTube and Facebook is black. Why can't you comment on YouTube? I can't... Bree, this sucks. They're trying to stop my show. I'm going to give you this an angry face. This gets, I don't know if it's sad. I'm mostly sad, but I'm going to go with angry so we can try to figure this out. Okay, Bree, let's see if we can figure out the chat. Top chat. We're gonna do live chat. Let me see if I have any restrictions on chat. Toggle moderation. Can you try? No, I don't. You should be able to comment on YouTube. I don't. Could you try commenting on YouTube again? Can we try fixing this? Because I just switched something towards like the live chat. I don't know why. I can't troubleshoot this shit right now. I do because I'm doing a show. And I don't know why it's not working, Bree. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I would love for you to be able to chat. Maybe you could just like, I don't know, watch it on YouTube. Watch it on YouTube and then instant message me. Action needed, my ass. The only action I need is in the comments. This is bullshit. The man is keeping... This is bullshit. The man is keeping me down. There we go, Bree. I did what I could. I don't know what to tell you, Bree. I don't know what to tell you. You could watch my show. I would love for you to comment or something. Maybe you could like text me or I don't know what to. I don't know what to tell. I don't know what to do. I can't fix it while I'm live. And this is the only chance I got. Like if you want a show for 2 weeks, this is. I'm sorry. If you want a show for 2 months because I'm about to have another kid, this is it. So I just got to keep rolling with it. So this show is going to be for largely Bree. Well, I guess it's Bree because you're here. And Ray and Emily. And then maybe some stuff for Brian if he piles in or has any questions. Brian, all that stuff about like the government's trying to burn a bunch of formaldehyde and like have chemical burns and shit and have it go into the atmosphere is bullshit. No offense, but it is. Like, it's a wildfire. It's a really bad wildfire. It might have even hit like, you know, I don't know, a terpene plant or some crap. And it just launched all this stuff into the atmosphere and it's stuck there because of the smoke and the heavy ozone. Like, I would actually, my caution to you, Brian, and this is something I've learned. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and start with something I wasn't even planning on talking about. So something's happening and it's a generational shift. And it's a generational shift that happened around 2000 because of the advent of the internet. And what the advent of the internet did is it created a situation where everybody has access to seemingly infinite amounts of information. And I knew that there was like this giant sorting that was happening because of the information that were happening. Like we're breaking into these big different tribes, but it's more complicated than that. Like part of the tribes is... younger kids are more technologically savvy than older people, duh. But it's also, they're more able to spot bullshit in media. So they're able to look at, you know, some sort of claim on Instagram and be able to tell if it's true or false, like almost right off the bat. Much faster than we can. Like they're infinitely better at it. And I'm good at it. I'm pretty good at it. My wife's pretty good at it. We're pretty savvy millennials. We're pretty cool millennials. But bam, Bree, the boomers can't do it. Like, if you notice, like, why do they keep falling for all of this bullshit? It's because they're from an old generation, like a long time ago, okay? Like, they're not going to ever be able to adapt to this stuff. Gen Xers are never going to be able to adapt to this stuff. We as millennials will be kind of okay with this stuff. And then the Zoomers and so on are going to be the first generations where it's like, this is the water that they swim in. They are in an information-rich environment, an information-soaked environment, and they're way, way, way less likely to fall for crap than we are. And that's a good thing. But it's also a bad thing at the same time because it's causing a massive generational rift and people are getting more and more extreme partially because of that. And partially they're just getting authoritarian because they're so angry. Does this make sense? And Bree, if you want to comment or text me or do whatever, just listen. You guys can just listen to my rants. And the fact that it's black on you, damn, man. I might need to try and fix this stuff someday, but I don't know whenever that's going to happen, Bree. I really don't know what to tell you. Where was I going with that? Brian. Oh, that's another one. and it ties into this. So there's this information-rich environment. There's information everywhere, and like we come from an environment where it used to be there's scared. There was scared, and this comes from Michael Guimarães. Michael Guimarães. Guimarin. He's a Silicon Valley IT guy. Pretty smart. Very smart, actually. Pretty smart. I actually don't know the guy. He's a smart guy. But he's not full Spurg smart. So there's that. Where was I going with any of this, Bree? Help me out. Even though you can't talk to me, producer Bree, I need you. Isn't that the phrase that gets the ladies going? I need you. Anyways, Michael Gurian, he did a space that was pretty sick. I might put it up here real quick. If I can, actually, I'll go back here and then I'll click here. And there's me in the video there. Right there, captions off, blink. There we go. So I don't get fried, like my eyes don't get fried from seeing my own captions and whatever. So let me see, I'll go here, and then I don't want to dox myself, and then I go down here. Spies and former CIA operatives. So we're going to talk about that. Man, Jesus, this is dark. So real quickly, before we get dark, we're going to go here, Adamtown's. Is that it? No, that's... Maybe that's it? Yeah, I guess that's it. I don't know why it says Adam Scrabbles. But we do love that guy. So the guy who was holding the space was Michael A. Gaid, CFA, and if you want to watch for it, Bree, you're here, Bree, you're here, Bree. It's like that woodchuck video, Bree, Eric, Bree. Anyways. Good to see you, Bree. Damn, I wish if I could have been there this weekend, past weekend, I would have been there. Really, legitimately, no joke. But I also didn't want to give you COVID, and I had it. So this is why you need an info diet. Insights from Michael Grumian. You could tell me how to spell that or pronounce it. And it was pretty sick. Like, this is a good space. This was good information. It was Bree! It's Bree! She's commenting! I can see her comments! Can you see my face, Bree? And I'm glad it was lovely. I hope it was a good event. I'm not going to get into it here on the live stream. Because I don't know if that's appropriate or not. I don't think it is. It might cross the line. It probably crosses the line. You have to forgive me, I'm a Spurg. And I don't know where the line is sometimes. And apparently... Oh, something I discovered, Bree. Apparently I needed to start saying all my jokes with an accent. Where I'm like, well, maybe we should call the Jews. Like, I don't know exactly what it is, but and then I just throw a little bit of that Englishness in there, and then people will be like, oh, he's making a joke. Listen to his funny accent. Ha! As opposed to, maybe we should ask the Jews. And they're like, is he an anti-Semite? I don't even know. Blah. And it was whatever. So Michael had this thing where it's the info diet, and it's actually a program that he has. And he was the guy who was talking about this stuff, but I've heard it from like a whole bunch of other people. And now I'm all nervous. Like, we got to notice that from the school that there might be lice at the school. So now I'm like, oh God, I have lice. I just feel itchy. Anyways, so in that space, they talked about, what's the thing that I was bringing up? The info diet. So basically, and I'm using Brian as an example. Brian's terminally online. Much like I am terminally online. And by terminally online, I mean it's people who are on the internet a whole bunch and likely to believe conspiracies more than others. And so I know I'm in that category, and I know Brian's in that category, and I know my mom's in that category, and I bet Linda's in that category. And as a result of it, like, if you see a whole bunch of conspiracies all the time and you're interacting with people, and this is not what he talks about, but this is my extrapolation of it, and you are engaging with people who believe in conspiracies all the time, and you're just getting hit with them all the time, then you're constantly going down rabbit holes looking for all the different conspiracies to try and figure out, like, what the hell is going on. I hate to break it to you, I found what the hell is going on, and as a result of it, I'm not sure what the hell to do, Bree. I really don't know what to do. I figured it out. As a context, I finally figured the shit out, And it is just, it's actually freed me as a result of it, because I discovered there's no stopping this train we're on, Bree. Like, you know how we talked about, hey, maybe we could do, like, you know, I can go, you could write your books, and I can do my news show, and I can go out there and try to bring sanity to people. There's no bringing sanity. It's not possible. It's not possible, because what we're going I've talked about how the wormhole example, damn, that's a good one. So we're trying to fix the ship while we're in the wormhole to deal with what's on the other side of the wormhole, or to stop us from going through the wormhole, but we're in the wormhole. Like, the internet is rewiring all of humanity in real time, and you can't fix it. Like, I can't stop the tribes from warring with each other. They're not going to stop. They're not going to pull it together, okay? Like, the boomers are not going to fix this, and the boomers run everything, okay? The boomers can't fix this because they can't operate in this space, because their brains aren't wired to. They can't handle the information load. And as a result, they're defaulting to their lowest level of training, which could be the Bible, it could be communism, it could be like whatever, like, they're indoctrinated with, that's what they're going to go with, and they can't hear other opinions. Well, you and my mom wouldn't read my book. Lol, lol. I might read your book. It depends on what your book is. I'm reading this book. I actually read books sometimes. And it depends on what your book. If it's like self-indulgent bullshit, I'm not going to read your book. No offense. Like, no offense. But if it's something interesting, I'd be like, yeah, no, that sounds pretty good. Let me see, Bree, where were we? Oh, the wormhole, and it's all shit. So we're going in the wormhole, and it's all bad, and it's all doomed, and we're screwed. We're not screwed. It's just that, you know, what's an example of something? You know, the way that Donald Trump behaves is unacceptable to anybody under the age of 40. Okay? And, you know, boomers, you can sit there and say, well, they're a bunch of pussies, or, God, they need to blah, 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 or they need to suck. It doesn't matter what you think. What you think is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. The thought process that says it's okay for Donald Trump to behave like Donald Trump and be the president of the United States is something that people under 40 will never, ever, 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 ever accept. I thought it was funny. Now, that was the, like, you know, I wasn't a big Trumpy, but I was also like damn, this is the funniest shit that's ever happened. Thank you, God. So I was highly entertained, but also like, that's not what I want my president to be, okay? That's not what I want my daughters to see as the president, okay? Now, I don't know who the hell else to do it and like fix things. I would actually, I could tell you exactly what I'd vote for. I would vote for Dr. Shiva. That guy's smart as hell, and he's awesome, and I actually agree with him. In fact, we're going to talk some Dr. Shiva in a minute, because Dr. Shiva, the MIT professor who's running for president, said a bunch of crap, and then I was like, oh my God, I had this conversation with my wife earlier. This is exactly what I said. I'm as smart as the guy at MIT, because guess what? My IQ is as high as an MIT grad. Did you know that? That's why I'm so freaking smart. I'm such a smarty pants. At least it was before I started partying like a rock star, because everybody in New Mexico is stupid, and the only way I could survive is by making myself an idiot. But Bree, enough of my self-indulgent bullshit. Like, let's talk about the news. And let's go backwards. So most recently, I don't even know, did something happen today? Something happened yesterday, which, like, my people were like, oh my God, the Supreme Court. And I was like, I don't, you know, my kid's not even taking a nap. I can't read this. And so I have not read, like, the opinion and the dissenting opinion. I saw that people had some opinions on the opinions from the Supreme Court, but I'm not going to read those. I don't care. I'll read what the two blacks on the court say. Considering it was about affirmative action, am I right? You know, Bree, I've discovered something recently. I'm basically an old school liberal. That's where I'm at in the, like, scheme of things. Like, you know, I don't think there should be private prisons. I think there should be public prisons. I don't think we should, you know, be warring around the globe. I think we should. Actually, I'll go ahead and I'll get into the Supreme Court decision and I'll explain my perspective on things. And so, Ray and Emily and everybody else is watching. So, what was it? Affirmative action got overturned, and I think it's only I think it's for the colleges, but there might be implications in other places. Bree, you could correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know, but we'll just say it's for college admission and that stuff. And so the way they used to be is okay, MIT, you need to have 3 blacks for every 100 students that get in there, and if you could throw in some Mexicans, we'd appreciate it. And so that's how they, did things, and then the court said it was unconstitutional to do that. And let's get real clear for a second. You and me, Bree. You and me and Bree. That's actually who it is. It's you and me and Bree. That's who's watching it right now. The colleges aren't going to change anything. It's not like all of a sudden the, Harvard and Yale are going to be oh, we're going to totally change our admissions thing now that we're totally staffed with the DEI people so we can have our student body and our radical staff fight against us. They're not changing shit. Bree says it does not apply to military schools. Okay. Yeah, I could see that. It's different when you have stuff on the federal level, I think. But I digress. It's whatever it is. It's not going to change that much. These are the institution has been doing, and this is something that's good to know. Institutions will keep doing what they're doing for years. I could go in and take over. We'll just say I could take over I'm a real estate agent, so I go in and I take over a new brokerage, okay? And I'm okay, I'm going to institute all these changes in the brokerage. It's going to be a year and a half before they start going through. So there's just this slow walk when it's there's a trim tab to change this stuff. And trim tabs are Tim Trabs are the rudders for... Tim Trabs are on gigantic rudders. So if you think about an aircraft carrier and how big they are, I mean, it's a boat that spits planes out of it. It's big. Okay, so think about the rudder that you have to turn a boat that spits planes out. And it's not just any planes, they're fighter jets from hell. Well, there's something to move the rudder because you can't just push the rudder or have it do it. Any sort of hydraulics you had to move the rudder would destroy the hydraulics. There's so much mass behind the weight of the boat on top of the density of the water, it would just break it in half. And so what the helm control, the little wheel controls is this thing that's about the size of the door on your bedroom. That's called a trim tab. And so they turn that. And what that does is that you turn the door this way and then it creates a drag that slowly starts turning the rudder. And then, in a mile, you might be able to turn around an aircraft carrier, maybe 2 miles. I don't know exactly what it is. Anyways, and so that's the institutions thing. So the Supreme Court can do whatever they want to with the colleges, and the colleges are just going to say, pfft. So that's number one. Number two, good. I'm actually in favor of this one. Because and here's why I'm actually in favor of it. I need to be clear on this one. The reason I'm in favor of this is because I don't think that a system where you're okay, well, we need to go ahead and get enough blacks in here, or whatever race it is. We need to get enough blacks or Mexicans or whatever in here because we're supposed to fill this quota. And as a result of it, you have people with, I'm throwing out numbers. I don't actually know any of this stuff, okay? But people with 1,200 ACT scores going into MIT where every single buddy who got there on their own, we'll just say everybody else has an ACT score of 1,600, okay? 1200s ain't competing against 1600s. And so what happens at these universities is these students that get in as a result of a race-based scholarship or whatever it is, they flunk out in the first year. And then they're demoralized for school. So we're sitting here trying to help black people by setting them up for failure, and then they drop out and they blame themselves when they could have just gone to a state college and done fine. They could go to a state college and become a dentist and make $500,000 a year. But no, they have to go to MIT to go try and prove something, and then they flunk out. And then what do? We blame the schools for it. It's a BS system. So that's one reason I'm in favor of it being gone. Number two, it's just a Band-Aid, okay? It's we have all of these these problems from quote-unquote systemic racism, which I do believe in, but everybody talks about it like an idiot, so it's hard for me to agree with them because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. If you want to fix the black community, Bree, I got it, okay? I know exactly what to do. What we do is we take money and then we give it to the blacks. The end. I'm kidding. But what we do is we go to black communities, and this should go for, if I'm being honest, this should just go for poor people, because what we have is a system that just screws poor people. It doesn't matter if they're black, it doesn't matter if they're white, it doesn't matter if they're brown, it doesn't matter if they're yellow. If they're poor, they're screwed, okay? And so what we need to do is create trade school, but I'll use blacks as the example. Go into black neighborhoods and be like, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to set up a trade school for every single black kid here who is a descendant of slaves, or just, black has been here 3 generations, whatever it is. Okay? Who from here, and then you can go to the trade school here, and then you can get a job in the trades making a decent living, and then they also get money for infrastructure programs. And so the people from that community wind up building that community and make a nicer community, and as a result of that money going into the community, you're going to have businesses going into the community. Businesses will get built, and you also have houses going in there because people need to live in their houses, and they start their families. And so what you do is you create an economy in these black communities where they are they're the ones doing it. It's not like somebody coming in and throwing a bunch of money at them. It's not like, some white savior bullshit or anything like that. They fix their own communities with the money that they have been allocated by the federal government, instead of using it to blow up brown people in the Middle East who are fucking goat herders from the last millennia. And I'm not talking about like the rollover. I'm talking about from the three numbered years. Okay, these freaking people who they're from an agrarian culture and we're blowing them up with $250,000 missiles. It's fucking disgusting. Anyways, so we could actually just give that money to the blacks and then, build up these communities, and it'd be freaking great. And that'd be way better than affirmative action. It'd be way better than the Civil Rights Act, which this Supreme Court is going to get rid of. You heard it here first. The Supreme Court is going to overturn the Civil Rights Act because it's not applicable. Okay? So affirmative action, I'm on the West Coast. What the fuck did the West Coast do? Okay? Now I'm a coastal elite, but, it's not like these states were here when slavery happened. Okay? And it's not like we're have the same racism as the Deep South. Like, was there racist stuff that happened here? Oh, you bet your ass off there was. And did some blacks get screwed over? They sure did in Seattle. But it's not the same. It ain't Jim Crow South. It wasn't that, which is what this stuff's supposed to be fixing. And so the federal government created this giant system, this giant structure to reshape all of society, and it's just pissing people off at this point. Okay? After 2020, I'm not sure, how much of a step up blacks need, beyond the fact that now, all the white people hate them, which ultimately is the purpose of all of this. All of this is the oligarchs who are English descended, causing division between the plebs, so the plebs all fight with each other. There were all these white people who I saw and I've even talked to who are just yay, we won, it was a big victory for us. I didn't win shit. I didn't win anything as a result. I didn't win anything. Okay, Bree? I didn't win anything. I got nothing. I got nothing. I got nothing. I got nothing out of this, okay? And so what they do, the English discovered this, and actually, it goes back to Rome, but basically you just create tribal division and have the plebs fight amongst themselves, and then you just keep stealing everything. And it works great. It's a fantastic system. And what we have is that, this system, and this is part of me not being able to fix it, is getting pushed to the wayside, okay? What's happening is we're having, a multi-ideological system emerge where it's okay for people to be this way, and it's okay for people to be that way, and it's actually okay for them to be different and not agree with each other. Which, incidentally, that is not how our federal government operates. Our federal government's so petty. These mediocre, pathetic, petty, weak little bitches. The thing that, the best part about Donald Trump being president was him having to call these little weasels to his office and being like, hey, I want you to go do this. And they're like, hey, but you're the president, I have to. And then they're just getting humiliated every single fucking day. That was the best part of it. and him just rubbing their face in it. That's why they can't let it go. That's why they will never let it go. That's why they're trying to prosecute him and everything. It's not that he's evil. It's not that they don't want him to be president again. They don't want him to be president again. But it's none of that shit. It's that he bruised their pathetic little egos. So good for Donnie. But that's basically my rant about the Supreme Court, Bree. I don't really have much to add to that. I'm going to go ahead and look at this stuff. Oh, the alien shit, that's all bullshit. Oh my God. Let's see if I could find this one. I'm going to go ahead and open up another window here. And let's do CIA Brazilian election. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Election. I'm just gonna accept cookies. Oh my God! So I will read your comment in just a second, Bree. So I had an awkward conversation with a woman at the memorial who said the illegals and takes are the worst. I don't know what takes are the worst is, but I could see about the illegals. This was taxes are the worst. Yeah, it's really interesting how there's this. I was talking to a sister-in-law today, and she's real like super left-wing progressive. But she said what's like something that's sad is that conservative kids. She's a school teacher, have no voice. Like conservatives are totally unrepresented. There is nobody who is pushing conservative thought in the country. I bet Pat Buchanan was the last one, and I'm not even joking. I think Pat Buchanan was the last conservative in America. And I might take up the mantle just so somebody has a fucking conservative. But this sort of like, libertarianism took over the Republican Party, and it's disgusting. Like, people are like, oh my God, taxes are the worst. And I even got infected by that libertarianism because I was so disgusted with government spending. But now that I actually, my wife works for the government, I actually see it now. I was like, oh, actually, that makes a lot of sense. It's kind of, I do actually want roads and schools and all kinds of other crap. I do. Let me fix this real quickly, though, because I got to go Wayback Machine. Yeah, how is that? How are some of the, who is the person you had the conversation with? Was it the tweaker? Oh, and how is your tweaker brother doing? Let's go here. We're gonna go here. Ba-dee-ka-doo. And we'll see if this works. I think it works. I think it should work. So what I'm doing is I'm using the Wayback Machine as a way of getting past the paywall for the Financial Times. And then I'll just click accept cookie. Oh, man. Fuck. So it's already here because of XYZ. Let me go ahead and I'm going to try doing this a different way. So I'm going to go to Twitter. Glenn Greenwald. Oh man, what is Emma? Let me see. This is from Adam Townsend is correct. You are not getting elected if you come even a little close to being a critic of gays or abortion or immigrants. And that's true. Like, that's part of like that cultural shift, which is basically, it's just part of that cultural shift. Love it or hate it. Let me see. Glenn Green. So I'm going to do at GG Greenwald, CIA Brazil. She was lovely, just very loud. Roddy got in an accident and didn't make it, but he's okay. That's unfortunate. Stop Stunning! Left liberals are claiming the CIA interfered in Brazil's 2022 election not to influence the outcome, but as a selfless defense of democracy abroad. It's perspective you can only have if you've never opened a history book, and the left used to reject. So a very long story short, it turns out that the CIA was interfering in Brazil's election. They were securing that election. So the CIA, knowing it would be disclosed, is now boasting to corporate media about the extensive work they did in Brazil in 2022. As always, the CIA claims its actions were noble and motivated by a benevolent desire to safeguard democracy. Many people now believe this about the CIA. So here's what the hell is going on, Bree, and it's one of the hells that's going on right now. Let me see if I could find this guy again. Boop, 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 right here. So this is Mike Benz. And if I had the time, I would show you the whole video. You can watch it yourself. Mike Benz Z Cyber. The democracy, censorship, predicate, a quick primer. So essentially what he says is going on, and this is his perspective, and I'm inclined to agree with him, who is Mike Benz. Executive Director of FFO_Freedom, former State Department cyber guy on a mission to restore the golden age of the internet. So this guy is from the State Department, okay? Former. And what he said is effectively like, as a result of Trump getting elected, I think if I remember this correctly, but it's Trump getting elected in 2016, and also like Brexit happening in 2016. Like if you remember, those things were back to back, and they democratically happened. Okay, this was democracy in action. That the word democracy now got changed. So democracy, when you hear everybody talk about it, means something different. And what democracy now means is the institutions, much like the Clintons as an institution, run shit. And the Bushes run shit. So the Bushes, the Clintons, the FBI, the CIA, NATO, and the friendly political parties to these institutions across the globe. There's also like the Foreign Office from the UK. Like any of this sort of like these institutions, these NGOs, these intelligence companies, these intelligence agencies, and intelligence cutouts, those are the people who run things, and those are democracy. And as a result of it, you're required to agree with these people or you are opposed to democracy. And that's where they're going to say everything's an attack on democracy and blah, and you're going to hear it in the next election, I'm certain, over and over again. But basically what's happened is the CIA and their flunkies have taken over the globe. And I mean like the CIA, it could also be, like the MI6 and their flunkies have taken over the globe. It's going to be some sort of American and UK intelligence apparatus funded by oligarch money and black money and doing all this other terrible shit across the globe. They took over the globe. And what's happened as a result of the internet is us plebs can now, like, I can get on here and just say my stupid shit on my stupid show and be like, hey, everybody, blah, blah, blah. And then what happens? Oh, the Corona kittens are working on their immune system because that's the most important thing to deal with when fucking COVID happened that I figured out in April of 2020. And they still ain't talking about the damn immune system 3 years later because the institutions aren't here for public health. None of this is about helping the public or the American people. It's about money, power, and control by people who are hall monitors and fucking pathetic. And so what's happening is the chuds are threatening them. And if you take a look at like Antifa versus the Proud Boys are the best example of it. Antifa being more like the freaking people in DC, and the MAGA chuds, the Proud Boys are more like a biker gang. And who's going to win in a fight, the squares or the sharps? It's always the sharps. So that's another part of the thing that's happening right now. But it can't be fixed. They can't silence me, Bree. They can't. Now I can silence myself with all the dumbass words that I say, but the institutions are losing control and power. and they're going to get eroded. But what happens when somebody's losing control? What happens when you're in an abusive relationship? I'm actually writing an article on this. But what happens in an abusive relationship when somebody finally starts breaking control? The person freaks out. In fact, that's often when the person murders their fucking partner, is because, oh, I can't control him anymore. I better, and then they do that. They do that shit, okay? By the way, I'll never kill myself ever. You heard it here first. Ever. You know what will happen if I get real depressed and want to kill myself? I'll go get something to eat because I'm probably hungry, and then I might go get I'll go smoke a cigarette and chill out and be like, God, why'd I ever stop smoking these? These are the best. Man, life is good. So, yeah, if you ever hear that, it wasn't me, it was Hillary. It was Hillary. She did it. Bree, I don't know what the hell I'm doing with my sermon right now. But let me check this one out real quick. We're going to go here. Then we go here. And then I'll just scroll back to scrolling down and try to find out what other, things happened. Oh my God, this is just political gossipry, but this is freaking great. So there's this guy named Pedro Gonzalez, and he is a conservative influencer on Twitter. He's a new lead of the conservative movement. He's part of one of the conservative think tanks, and it turns out that, he's also part of the DeSantis campaign. Like, he's totally being funded by the DeSantis campaign, or the super PAC that's part of the the super PAC that's funding all this shit. He's a vicious racist and anti-Semite conspiracy theorist. It turns out that he's crazy. And isn't that, it's like, oh my God, there was this guy and he's a violent anti-Semite. Oh, and he was a part of the DeSantis campaign? That's so weird. There's a Jew-hating Republican in politics. That's so weird. Man, it's too funny. Anyways, I'm going to go back here in case there's some titties or something. I'm kidding, there's no titties here. But this is just so I don't do stuff. Oh, here's let's do a search on what's happening in Paris right now. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go like this, and then I'm going to go here. Paris riots. Oh yeah, they're cutting it. Holy shit. Do you see that? These people are cutting down a lamppost and bam, it just fell on. Yeah, I don't even know. Bree says some things never change. But yeah, so things don't change. Here's what's happening, Bree. Our system's rolling over. The industrial age, there's whoever was in charge prior to the industrial revolution, they got taken out by the, robber barons, and now the robber barons are getting taken out by some other people. And I guess you could say, things never change as far as, it's like the French are rioting. Oh, they're destroying let me see, what is that? That is a Holocaust memorial. And I wish this wasn't Andy No. I don't like his stuff. Anyways, long story short, from what I've been able to gather is there was a Islamic immigrant kid who died. Arson attacks have broken out. The rise of our blah. Police shooting death of French Algerian youth in Paris. And they are just torching shit. They are torching shit. They are looting shit. Paris is on fire, and this is after Paris was on fire already because of the what's it called? Help me out here, Bree. It was the austerity measures over retirement, which I actually support the Parisian people. Their government has sold them out to the military-industrial complex and the large transnational corporations, and they are sucking their retirement dry. It's not anyways, whatever. And so, yeah, we're watching the strange fall of Europe, and we're watching the strange fall of France. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But a long story short, she looks kind of cute. Look at her going over there. She's pretty cute. Look at her. Oh, there's a big pile of trash. Oh yeah, because of all the garbage workers striking. So Paris is just, man, Paris is going through some shit right now. Europe's going through some stuff right now. But whatever. So there's riots in Paris. I wanted to show that real quickly. There's an expression which is the revolution will not be televised. I can assure you that it's not being televised. We have malaria in this country now. Did you see that after 20 years? And oddly enough, after, Bill Gates and his friends released a bunch of mosquitoes in Florida and Texas. That's weird. We got malaria in Florida and Texas now. Weird. Bree, it's weird. Oh, do you want to talk about what a giant fraud DeSantis is? Or his campaign? Let's do that. Let's do that real quick. And for this one, I'm going to AdamTownsend.me. Boop-a-doo. DeSantis and his campaign to lose. Read more. I like Ron DeSantis. He's a fantastic governor. Blah, 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 blah. And so what he did is he just took a look at his website. And then there's the landing page. But it's also, take a look at this. It's not even mobile optimized. It looks like complete shit. Do you see that? Do you see how it's like it's not properly formatting? That's real bad. Oh, the events? There's no events. There's like 2 days. There was like a week's worth of events. That's like the weeks going into the future. June 20th. And this was from 2 weeks ago. I want to say when all these screens start. Let me see. If you haven't given up yet, you're feeling lucky. If you want to click on Meet Ron DeSantis tab, I shit you not, I had to take 2 pics to get most of it in. And so there's just like a bunch of copy that looks like crap. It looks like crap, and it's like, oh, you can donate here. And just so you know, like, they've got a scrolling list of people who donated to the campaign. And so what they're doing is they're doxing people in real time. Allegedly. Oh, and it's just a bunch of merch. It's like, oh, look at here. Oh, here's one for you. It's a shirt that has Ron DeSantis, whatever his crap logo is, but it says stop pussyfooting around in a picture of Ron DeSantis. He's not trying to get elected. This is a fake campaign. Look at Governor Whitmer as an example. Oh, there's all this fundraising stuff, and it looks really nice, and register to vote, and you're donate and register to vote, and then it's like, and look at all this stuff. It's like, it's just like a call to action, call to action, call to action. There's no call to action other than buying a shirt that makes you look like a racist. What the hell? Anyway, so everybody can stop worrying about Ron DeSantis if they're concerned. Let me see. There's that one. There's that one. Screwed. Like, oh, I don't give a crap about Justice Alito going fishing. Organic gardening. Big fan of it. Jim Cramer. Prigozhin. Oh, I gotta show you this shit. I'm working on an article about all this. But here's Jim Cramer. Actually, we're going to talk about Ukraine for a second. How long has this been going, Bree? How long is my show? Almost an hour. Good for me. So here's Jim Cramer, CNBC idiot. And he's saying this move by Prigozhin. And if you don't know who Prigozhin is, I guess I should talk about that. I don't think I talked about that right off the bat. I'll go ahead and leave that up there so you just have something different besides me and the earth. Like you need more. Wait for it. So Prigozhin was the head of Wagner, and the Wagner group, aka PMC Wagner, PMC stands for Private Military Company. And so what's happening in the world, if you remember, United States hired BlackRock, or we created BlackRock, because we just couldn't get enough soldiers to go back. And so instead we got armies of mercenaries, which is a real bad sign, by the way. When you have when your countries start having mercenary armies because they can't get people to join the military to go fight their expansive imperial wars, that's a sign that everything's about to go to shit. So you've been warned. Anyways, and so, but it's more than that, because what's happening is what these private military companies are doing, and specifically Wagner, but it's going to be others, is Wagner has been fighting shadow wars in Africa on behalf of the Russian Empire, because if the Russian Empire were to go down to Africa and fight all these wars, people would be like, oh my god, the Russians are doing it. But when you send mercenaries, nobody cares. The people don't care. And so mercenaries have been fighting shadow wars across Africa, trying to carve it up in order to just rape and pillage the continent for minerals. Wagner is one of those. They're bad dudes. It's an army of special forces guys. It's like 250,000 or 25,000 of them. 20 to 25,000 of them. And they also did a bunch of the heavy fighting in Ukraine. So that's the background of it. So Prigozhin allegedly staged a coup. And what it seems like is Prigozhin was trying to take out some guys in the military that he had problems with. And marched towards Moscow to do it. Ugh. But Putin's approval rating is like 70 or 80%. It's real high. I'm going to just say 80 to 90% to be honest. Putin's real popular in Russia. And so we're trying to take out, this popular guy. And so like the CIA convinced Prigozhin that he could, take out Putin or take out whoever. And that didn't work out so well. So Putin was actually able to solidify his position even more because a whole bunch of people who tried taking him out got caught. And now he's going to whack all of them because that's what Putin does. He murders people who are his opposition. He's a bad dude. He's a bad guy. Anyways, Jim Cramer, who's just this fucking shill on CNBC, was saying this move by Prigozhin and the Wagner Group is a new beginning for Russia and the Russian people. You go, Prigozhin, all in on Wagner. And so there are a whole bunch of people like fucking the same idiots that are part of the regime spokespeople. So it could be like this, but it's also like George Takei. He's a regime shill. Tom Hanks is a regime shill, okay? Like he's part of the hall monitor crowd. Anyways, but I don't know if Tom Hanks said anything about Prigozhin, but I know that George Takei did. And they're all talking about how great it is and we're all Wagner now and good for fucking Wagner and they're cheering him on. They're cheering on people who are literally 2 weeks before this happened killing Ukrainians. Fuckloads of them. And the Ukrainians are starting to wake up to something, which is they're being genocided, okay? The Ukrainian people are being genocided in order for us to make money off of Ukraine. We're going to kill all of the patriotic, and I said this fucking year ago, we're going to kill all of the patriotic, like, Ukrainians, all the young men, all the young women, anybody who's, like, of working age is either going to die in this war or run away as they get pounded by the meat grinder that is, like, Russian artillery. Well, a bunch of Western media fakies is going to try selling this war to the American people so we can just keep pushing them into the meat grinder because the military-industrial complex makes a shitload of money off of that. But then BlackRock, our largest investment fund, winds up making a ton of money because what they're going to do is they're just going to turn all of Ukraine, where all these people died, into just a bunch of farmland. Okay, it's just there's going to be one chunk of Ukraine that's going to be farmland, and then the other side that the Russians took is going to be an industrial zone. And these people aren't going to have voting rights. What is Zelensky done? He's like, he eliminated political parties, he eliminated opposition media, he eliminated opposition religions. It's a cultural and literal genocide. And all these fucking people are waving around their Ukrainian flags saying that they're cheering on the Ukrainian people, which is they're cheering on their own demise. It's like, do you remember Live 8? Happened in the 80s. It was like all these rock stars decided to have a concert to help all the fucking starving people in Africa. And what happened? They sent all that money over to Africa and the warlords took it and fucking used it to kill the starving people. So it would have been better if all these fucking dummies like Jim Cramer just kept their mouths shut. Which won't happen. So that's that. Let me see. I'm going to check messages real quickly here. Oh my God. Dude, Bree, the women in your family, they can fucking talk all day long. Okay, had to plug in my phone. It's dying. No, you go away. Yeah, remind me later. I can do that. Let me go back to my face real quickly, and I'm going to go through here because I don't remember all the news. I actually do remember this news. So I'm going to do it from here, which is basically, remember Bodie McBoatface, like the submarine? I didn't look at that story, Bree. Ray, Emily. Ray. I didn't look at the story because I'm like, oh, there's people stuck in a submarine. That's terrible. What I found terrible about that case was the people rooting for the people in the submarine to die. What? Like, what the hell is wrong with people? Are they this envious and greedy and nasty and shitty? This is part of me not being able to fix it, Brie. Is because that's the public that we're trying to save? Like, that's, like, this is awful. Like, you know, these people might be trapped and scared and terrified. And right before that, there was a migrant boat where 300 people drowned in the Mediterranean. And then all of a sudden, everybody's concerned about this submarine. And, oh, wait a second. The submarine blew up and the Navy knew about it on Sunday, but they kept going with the story. And people don't know that. People don't know this. They don't know that. They don't know that happened. They still believe the narrative about everything because they're just so fucking brainwashed and stupid. I can't. That's my whole thing about the boat. The submarine. Thoughts and prayers to the people that died on it. The captain and the company is an idiot. Like, that's really all I got for you. And the fact that it was used for propaganda is just the most American thing I've heard today. Let me see. Let me go here. And I'm working on this one, Bree. I'm actually writing a couple of big articles. Bree, you get a peek behind the curtain on my bigger articles. I'll tell you what they're. One is about the NRA, and specifically not just the NRA, but I think we need to ban gun ads. I think we need to ban gun ads like we banned cigarette ads. And it's not me saying that I think we need to get rid of guns. I'm a pretty big 2A guy. Like, I'm pretty 2A. Like, I think that I do like the public having rifles. And while I think that guns are a giant cope in America, I think it also tells the hall monitors that there's a damn line, okay? Like, the fact that there's so many freaking rifles in this country that the people could take the government if they wanted to, that's something to be concerned about. So, there's that. So, let me go back here real quick. So that was one article, and then here's this one, and it's kind of based off of this tweet, but it was based off of mostly the Wagner stuff. Bree says, ding dong. Well, if I'll go ahead and talk about the gun shit a little bit more, like, the fact that there's, like, all this stuff, if it's like, you're the last line of defense to blah, 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 and it's like, here's your dick, and blah, like, there's so much, like, attaching a rifle to your masculinity ads that are just shocking. Like, here, I'll just do a quick search. Like, I've got a chunk of them in my article already. And the reason I haven't banged out these articles is, like I said, my kid's been sick. And I've been sick. Over-the-line gun ads. Let me see. There's one like. Let me see. Here's that. Bad guys don't ring doorbells. Mossberg. But that's not really what I was looking for. There's stuff that are just like egregious. Built by Ham to perform in yours. That's like, these are bad, but these aren't like. I think it's Bushmaster. There you go. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Consider your man card reissued. Okay, there's just so much. Bushmaster is the worst, but it's just there's so many of this. I consider your gunner. Yes, no. Colin F is just unmanly. Man card revoked. What's this? Colin F avoids eye contact with tough-looking 5th grader. Man card revoked. Do you think tofu is an acceptable meat substitute? Yes, no. Jesus Christ, like this is toxic masculinity. This is like when people are like, oh my God, it's toxic this is toxic masculinity. Like they're just like, you're a pussy if you don't have an AR-15. And they're going after the kind of people who have that sort of mentality of like, well, I'm not a pussy, I better get an AR-15. Duh. Anyway, so I'm working on an article about that. And then here's another article that I'm working on, and it's based off of this tweet. And also what's going on. And so Russia has lost the war. Expect the front lines to collapse in coming days. And look at that. It's like 2.8 million views. And he's whoever he is. And so here's Adam Townsend, my favorite mentor. I joined his party and he doesn't get to say no. Why do people follow this guy? Why would anyone volunteer themselves to inject their brains with this shit? It's instrumentalized to cognitively impair whoever receives it. Not kidding, it is. And so this bullshit fake news is like, it's gaslighting the people. The media is gaslighting the public that sees it, and it drives them insane. So I watch my family members walk around believing the wrong conclusion of the sub-story, and like they just have wrong information in their head all the time, which like they're not connected to reality because of it. Like getting wrong information like separates you from reality. It's like, it's part of why like truth is so fucking important, and being honest is so fucking important, and like following your inner morals and virtues is so fucking important. It connects you to reality. And destabilizing people's identity and making them lose their hold on reality is how oligarchs take turf. So that's a nice light little thing there. Let me see what's here. We got Prigozhin. Oh my God, JFK. Oh my Jesus Christ. Man, that's a funny tweet that I made. God, that poor stupid thing. Okay, so we're going to do some RFK news real quick. So RFK said that he wanted to debate Dr. Peter Hotez on the Joe Rogan podcast. And you're going to get my 2 cents on this. So Joe Rogan had RFK Jr. on there. And it's one of my problems with Joe Rogan. And it's essentially, and I actually like Joe Rogan. I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan. But the problem is Joe Rogan functions almost like a documentary. Like if Joe Rogan isn't in a position to where he can critically, call out the guests and what they're talking about. He does read their books before they go on. I'll give him credit for that. He's a big reader. Joe Rogan's a smart guy. Even if he's the smartest meathead we have. If somebody like RFK Jr. goes on there, it's going to be a real persuasive argument. Like, you're going to walk away, like, believing everything RFK Jr. says. And actually, Bree, you got to hear my opinions on RFK. I think you're going to love this shit. Like, I offended my family over this, okay? So, RFK Jr. is now becoming, like, he's a darling of the Republicans. Well, not after the last 2 days. But he was a darling of the Republicans, where they're like, oh, here's a guy who's saying it is what it's like. He's telling it like it is. He's right about, the vaccines, and he's right about the lockdowns and all this other shit. Well, you know what? He was a totalitarian when COVID happened, too. He was a total authoritarian about it. And why the fuck are Republicans allying with a Kennedy? A philandering, drug-addicted Kennedy, who's an elitist piece of shit, who's part of the elitist cabal that runs everything. Like, who do you think goes to Harvard and Yale and then goes into government? Oh my God, it's the Kennedys. Like, oh my God, it's the Bushes. Like, oh my God, it's the Obamas. Like, oh my God, it's the Clintons. Like, he's the same fucking swamp creature as all of them, and they're like, oh yay, the swamp creature's gonna save us. The fucking the 69-year-old unmarried heroin addict who was saying that he wanted his wife to kill himself. What a great fucking guy. I'm gonna totally, like, latch onto him. And all the Republican dummies out there are gonna be like, oh, I just love RFK, and then what does he do? He's like, oh, it's a travesty that they got rid of, like, Roe versus Wade. The Supreme Court shit about the college admissions the affirmative action. So RFK Jr. is like rolling over the ground crying, they got rid of affirmative action. And then all the Republicans are like, how could he betray us like this? The drug addicted, philandering Kennedy. What is wrong with these people, Bree? I can't. I can't talk about RFK Jr. anymore. I've got to go down the timeline and go to other shit that happened in this past week. Let me see, like, what else is going on. Freemasons suck. Oh yeah, there's Hunter Biden. Oh yeah, I already brought that up. Do we need to talk about Pride Month? Do we need to talk about Pride Month and just the falling out of Pride Month? Let me see. Oh, the Chinese are in deep shit. So, like, America won the future. I want to be clear on this. This is really good. This is a good video, Bree. I would recommend watching this sometime. You can go at @VA_Shiva. This guy's running for president. I totally want to do it. And this guy does a quick video explaining how the elites control the globe. Like, he actually explains how there's like 10,000 people who run the entire globe, and he explains the mechanism behind it. And he also, like, you know, independent of this guy, came up with the same conclusions, which is like the only way to really fix this stuff is for people to get involved in politics on a local level. You can't rely on the parties. Anyways, Dr. Shiva's good people. He's really good people. And he also talked about, building the immune system as opposed to the COVID vaccine and all the other shit about COVID. But I'm going to go down here. This is, oh yeah, Elon Musk and freaking whatever. So here's something. Let me see. Here's somebody, and this will go into Pride Month and kind of just like the zeitgeist of this moment, like the backlash against Pride, and the gays. And I sent you that article. Like, you read that article, you know exactly what the hell's going on. I don't need to make my case in regards to this, but if the LGBs want to save their asses, they might need to get rid of the Q's and the T's. Anyways, James says, yesterday, after posting a tweet saying that I reject the word cis and I don't wish to be called it, I receive a slew of messages from trans activists calling me a sissy, telling me that I am cis whether I like it or not. Just imagine if the roles were reversed. Here comes oligarch Elon Musk. Repeated targeted harassment against any account will cause the harassing accounts to receive, at minimum, temporary suspensions. The words cis or cisgender are considered slurs on this platform. So, Elon Musk is kind of a frontman for the military-industrial complex. If we're being real for a second, I mean, look at what Tesla, SpaceX, PayPal, like, all these different companies that he's been a part of, like, they are real, Starlink, real close to the government, / military-industrial complex. And also the Chinese Communist Party. And so he's part of, like, the globalist soup. And the globalist soup is, like, so the hall monitors are going to throw trans people under the bus because the zeitgeist requires them to. And it'll just be like, remember when Latinx was a thing and then they got rid of Latinx and they said it's racist if you say Latinx? It's going to be the same thing with the trans. The trans people are going to get it real bad. Because it's still run by the freaking boomers. If it was run by the millennials, the trans people would be like, I don't even know what the hell would go on. I need to get something to drink and I'll be right back. I'm losing my voice. Because I had COVID. Actually, here's the thing. I don't think cis and cisgender should be considered slurs. I think they're stupid words, but I don't think that helps. Man, I just see my numbers bumping. I must have pissed somebody off on Twitter. Oh, this was a big one. So this happened, and then the boat shit happened, or the sub shit. Breaking, BlackRock recruiter decides people's fate spills on the company's world impact. It's not who the president is, it's who's controlling the wallet of the president. You got $10,000, you can buy a senator. War is real effing good for business. And so here's a recruiter inside of BlackRock who mouthed off to one of James O'Keefe's undercover people. Which is why I like Project Veritas, even though I don't like Project Veritas at the same time. Like, as a result of this little video, there's all kinds of BlackRock whistleblowers coming forward. And that's a real good thing because it needs to be stopped. Like, BlackRock needs to be stopped in its tracks. In fact, BlackRock got humiliated. So, do I need to talk about what BlackRock is? I know I've talked about it all the time. But for those of you who don't remember, it's the largest investment fund in the world. BlackRock controls $12 trillion. To put things into perspective, I believe the GDP of the United States of America is something like $20 trillion. It's an incredible, incredible amount of wealth, and it has an incredible amount of power. Larry Fink recently said that he's no longer going to use the term ESG. In fact, ESG is kind of dead in the water because of the way that conservatives are spreading fake news about it, and now like liberals are spreading fake news about it. So like the environmental sustainable governance shit is gone. Like let me see, Vanguard, who's also a gigantic fund, no longer invests in the ESG companies. And actually I should explain ESG real quickly so you get an idea. So the reason Target, and this will help you figure out. I'm gonna just lounge for a second, Bree. So please forgive me, because this will relax my throat a little bit. Because it's still, I mean, I had COVID. ESG. So the reason that Target had children's clothing that allowed them to tuck their genitals is because Target is trying to boost their ESG score and get cheap money for investment in order to build more Target stores or expand their business, whatever. Essentially what ESG does is it allows companies to borrow money cheaper. And also get money cheaper. So if you're a super woke company, then somebody like BlackRock's going to come in and buy up your stock, and that'll cause this value of your stock to increase. Now, the thing is these companies are so massive, it doesn't matter. I think I said this last time we had a show, which was like Anheuser-Busch. Okay, sure, Bud Light's it's taken a big hit, but Anheuser-Busch is freaking huge. Like, it's so big. It's a $60 billion corporation, okay? Them losing $100 million from, and it's not even that, but we'll just say like tens of millions of dollars from Bud Light, that don't matter. It doesn't matter at all. It affects the Bud Light people, but it doesn't matter even remotely because Anheuser-Busch is so big. That's Anheuser-Busch's bigness in comparison to Bud Light is like BlackRock's comparison to Anheuser-Busch. Like, you know, one small chunk of one gigantic company doesn't matter because BlackRock owns all of the gigantic companies. BlackRock literally owns, I think, more than 5% of the entire S&P 500. These are the 500 largest American corporations in the world, and this one company owns 5% of all of them. And they use yours and my money to do it. And they borrow money from the Federal Reserve at a fraction of the rate we do. Which means, what does that mean? Interest rates are probably 7% right now. BlackRock is borrowing money at 1.25% when you and me have to borrow 7%. Because of how much money they have and control. And so much of the craziness that you see that's happening right now is people being aware of the system and the system rolling over. And what's going to happen is the people who own everything, are actually going to end up owning more at the end of it. I hate to break it to you. But I think the banks are going to win. And I don't know how to stop it. That's part of what's freed me from so much of this, Bree, is I don't know how we can possibly stop it. And what they'll do is just create a new type of capitalism where what happens is people like us, like, we might be, like, if I really knock it out of the park, I might be able to get, like, Auntie Laurel and Uncle Jeff rich. But the possibility of me getting Elon Musk rich will be closed forever. And so I could have a nice, decent living, but I'll never get to that upper echelon. Like, that door will be closed. And it will be a club. And what'll happen is the ability for people to get up to the level of a Laurel and Jeff will also be that much harder. And the people to get up to a level of me and Bay right now will be that much more difficult. Like, Jessica and I, we're doing way better than your average American. Like, we're doing way better. Like, our net worth is double our peer group. If not more. It might be more. So I mean, and it's not like we're cash rich, but our net worth it's good. It's really good. And as a result of that, wait, no, it's not as a result of that. It's going to be harder for our kids to get to the level that Jessica and I are at. And it's just going to keep getting worse and worse until there's like the kind of global there'll be a global upper, lower middle class, and then just rich as fuck people. Like, the middle class will get obliterated. And consumer capitalism will be done, but the ultra wealthy will still be able to consume all they want to all day long. Let me see. I'm going to check things. That's a good John quote, but it's not really what we're doing. This is a get out of cities thing that the Republicans like to talk about, and I do agree with them in a lot of ways. 3 women injured in a series of subway slashing incidents, New York Police Department officials say, as they release photos of the suspect. Something that's happened in the West Coast, like in the not West Coast, but East Coast big cities, and possibly West Coast cities, we'll find out, is they've criminalized self-defense. Like, if you defend yourself and hurt the attacker, you're the bad guy, not the people who are doing the attacking. Crap, what have I done? What have I done? I lost my bookmarks. My tweets. Shoot. Crap, Bree, damn it. Oh man, I can't do that. Let me see. June 11th, so we're right here, so that's too much. Who's America? Duck, duck, go, blah, blah, blah. I think... Yeah, this goes to another Republican thing. So, let's look at this kid. Guy was threatening his girlfriend. I think somebody was threatening his wife. This was in New York City. Or girlfriend. I'll just read this stuff, and it'll explain it, because I don't remember it exactly. Read more. Will you help us support my baby? On June 13th, Jordan Williams, my son, was involved in an altercation on a subway where he acted with courage to defend himself and passengers from a physically violent, reckless, deranged individual. Jordan was born and raised in Westside Bassett. He is a high school graduate, an avid basketball player, lover of the sport, soft-spoken, respectful, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't say exactly what happened. So this kid and some other people were on a subway who were attacked by a crazy person, and he killed the crazy person, and then the DA went after him. And one of the things that we have, and I might wrap up with this, Bree. I think I covered everything that happened. Is there anything that I missed in the past 2 weeks? Please let me know. But something that's happened is the Malthusians have taken over. The hall monitors are all Malthusian. So I bring up that term. So let's go here real quickly. Malthusian. And we'll just do Malthusianism is a theory that population growth is potentially exponential according to Malthusian growth model, while the growth of the food supply and other resources is linear. Bree's been out of it the past couple of weeks. Okay, well, I'll also look at my bookmarks and maybe that'll let me know. But I gotta hide those because there might be titties in there. But they're only really good titties. But, you know, Facebook and YouTube, what can I say? And other resources is linear, which eventually reduces living standards to the point of triggering population decline. This event, called a Malthusian catastrophe, also Malthusian trap, population trap, Malthusian check, Malthusian crisis, Malthusian specter, Malthusian crunch, occurs when population growth outpaces agricultural production, causing famine or war, resulting in poverty and depopulation. Such a catastrophic inevitability has the effect of forcing the population to correct back to a lower, more easily sustainable level, quite rapidly due to potentially severity and unpredictable results in the mitigating factors involved, and compared relatively slow timescales, well understood processes governing unchecked growth or growth affected by preventative checks. Malthusianism has been linked to a variety of political and social movements, but always refers to advocates of population control. So the people who are in charge of things, they want to kill 1 billion people, if we want to be real for a second. The fucking oligarchs want to kill 1 billion people. So do the hall monitors want to kill 1 billion people because climate change. Climate change. So they've been brainwashed by their own bullshit, and now they're genocidal over it. And my lovely wife is calling me, so I gotta go. Actually, can you give me a second? Can I take this real quick? Like, would you spare me that? Hello, beautiful lady. How are you? Hello, hello. Hello. Eric! Bree! Hello? Hello? I can't hear you. What? And I'm doing a show. I'm hanging up the phone. I was going to show you guys how to charm a lady, and Jesus Christ, I can't do anything. No, not you, jerk. There's first call, missed call, missed call. What's going on? Man. Well, I just scrambled my brain. Anyways, the Malthusians are in charge, and they want to kill everybody because they save the planet. And so what they want to do is kill all the, like... I mean, let's take a look at who they killed in Ukraine. A bunch of Nazis. And who do they want to kill in the United States? A bunch of MAGA. And who do they want to kill in Brazil? A bunch of nationalists. And who do they want to kill in India? A bunch of nationalists. And who do they want to kill in China? A bunch of communists. And so there's this death cult that's running everything. And then there's also, like, you know, the Freemason death cult, which also wants to kill everybody. And so, like, the death cults are in charge of things, and they want to mess shit up. But they're not going to, because they only mess shit up. Like, all they do is mess stuff up. If you really want to know what's going to mess things up, though, it's going to be a virus. And what's going to happen, and this is going to happen. So this will happen in our lifetimes. So when I talk about, you know, doing some prepping and making sure that you can get out and whatever, you know, you should also have some, like, N95 masks and possibly goggles, too. Because there's going to be a virus that comes out from one of these death cults that was built by AI. Like, there's going to be an AI that figured, like, they can just sick AI on it, and then they're going to go ahead and get some, like, lab equipment, and then, boom, go to town and make a really ugly virus and just, I don't know, inject themselves with it and then go on subways. And we're talking about something that's way worse than COVID, something with, like, a 3% mortality rate, which would be devastating. And then, yeah, so that's going to happen too. And so I'm going to actually double side the mRNA vaccine stuff. The mRNA technology is the only way that we can beat it. So, you know, we might not like Bill Gates and his friends, but they're going to save our asses. Hello? I can hear you now. I'm good. How are you? Yeah, sure. Well, I don't give a I don't care. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's late enough. Yeah, sure, totally. They can stay. Padden? Okay, you will be back quick. I'm doing a show, but I'll be done in a second. Say hi to Bree. Oh, hey, Bree. Oh, sorry, Christ. I know. I'm sorry I'm taking a phone call. But, yeah. I was trying to show people... Bree, no disrespect or anything, but, like... Pregnancy does interesting things to women. And sorry I'm so flippant about all this stuff. Man, because, I got to end on a higher note. So, but ask your scientist friend about that. Ask your scientist friend if I'm wrong with my prediction. And I'll tell her that when she gets here, Bree. I do want to end on a positive note, though, Bree. Okay, I really do. So what's happening right now is a real messy transition period. So if you're looking at, like, when the printing press got invented and you had the 30 Years' War, which is one of the bloodiest wars in all of human history, it gave rise to the nation state, which I would say is better than what existed before. It used to just be the church running everything. And then you had, like, what was it? The indulgences and that kind of crap. The priest will talk, like, you can get the priest to talk to God on your behalf if you just give him a little Skrilla. And now it's like you can build a bridge if you give the bureaucrat a little bit of Skrilla. And it'll soon be you'll be able to give your neighbor some money, or you can give him a little Skrilla and then you'll get something out of it. And that's like the direction that we're going to head in, which is the commoner is going to be empowered in a way that has never existed before. And we're going to get to a point where we are going to let bygones be bygones. We're going to allow people to be different, and that's perfectly fine and great and dandy. And AI is going to get real good at predicting who the really dangerous people are and stopping them before they get going. And so that's that. And then in a big chunk of, like, how to survive, like, we'll just say how to survive, like, the next pandemic. Already have masks, gloves, and goggles, and that'll be a big part of it. And just some food for a month where you can hunker down and be okay with this stuff. And then general health stuff, like take care of your health. And in your case, it's a bit tougher than everybody else. Lower the amount of, like, there's stuff you could do. You could lower your stress intake. You could be less stressed out. Like, you and I have a habit of, like, our entertainment, our version of sports is, watching the news and politics. Way too toxic and stressful. You know what we need to do? We need to go watch musicals with Ray and Emily right now. I think they're at, like, the Lion King musical. So something like that. No, it's not the Lion King. It's Beauty and the Beast, the musical. Who doesn't love Beauty and the Beast? It's my favorite story. Actually, my favorite story, and this is going to be another article, Brie. I'm going to go in a different direction with my articles because I'm sick of all the doom and gloom shit. Like, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, and I'm sick of, like, informing people about it. Because, number one, those articles take they take so much work to write. They take so much work, and then, nobody reads them. So there's that. But I don't have enough of a voice to have that make a big difference, so that's not working. So what am I thinking? What am I doing? Where am I going? My favorite story. I'm going to end on this. New favorite story. It is not The Sword and the Stone. It is Sleeping Beauty. And why do I love Sleeping Beauty so much? Man, that Princess Aurora is a total doll. She's a dime, am I right? Hers is the little prince, cool. Mine is Princess Aurora and Prince Andrew. Unfortunately, Prince Andrew got ruined by Prince Andrew, but that's fine. But here's why. So Princess Aurora, what is she? She's beautiful. She's absolutely lovely, and she sings. And so what did they do? They took her out of the castle and I'm going with, like, the Disney version of it, not the original, okay? But they take her out into, like, the forest, and then the fairies raise her in the log cutter's shack, and she's out there, just talking with the animals and being normal in nature, much like my cousin Jessie, or like your cousin Jessie, my wife Jessie. And she's lovely and enchanting as a result of it. She's not a Kennedy. They removed her from the Kennedy-ness. And so then she could be a normal pleb like the rest of us, and she's lovely as a result of it, okay? I mean, normal as you're going to be being raised by fairies. Prince Philip. I'm sorry, it wasn't Prince Andrew, it was Prince Philip. And so who's Prince Philip? Well, it's this gallivanting prince coming along. But he's he's going on in his little adventure, and he's like, I have fallen in love with a commoner, a common woman. Look at this common woman. She's so common. How lovely. And I'm actually going to talk about what is so disgusting about this society real quick. But she's so lovely and wonderful. I want to marry her. Dad, I know that the Princess Aurora has been betrothed to me, but I want to marry this common girl. And her dad's like, well, it is the 14th century. And so he's like, oh, go for it. And then he's like going to go ahead and split things up, even though he's pissed off at first. And so Prince Philip's he runs off. And then, Princess Aurora, she gets screwed over and then comes back and pricks her finger and goes to sleep. Because Maleficent is evil, okay? So the evil sorceress is like, oh man, look at these happy kids, and look at this happy kid. I can't stand any of that. Maleficent is vindictive and spiteful and jealous and nasty and cruel and mean and violent. She's all of the bad qualities. And so all of the bad qualities are incarnated and going after this young, lovely, in-love couple because evil wants to destroy everything that's good. It's disgusted. That's why school shooters shoot up schools. That's why they go after kids, okay? They're trying to destroy something beautiful. Evil wants to destroy something beautiful. And how is Prince Philip armed to go fight this? With the sword of truth and the shield of justice, with his shield of virtue. So with his virtues, with his core values, with who he is as an individual, and being rooted in who he is as an individual, while also being able to wield the truth is a fucking weapon, is how he defeats evil. The evil who calls literally on hell. She's the incarnate of Satan. And what do these people do? They try making movies about Maleficent on how, oh my God, it's not her fault she's bad. She just had a broken heart. So she became a devil worshiper. Our society is so sick. And so my solution to the problems that we have in our society, Bree, is a shield of virtue and a sword of truth. We tell the fucking truth, and we call out shit when we see it, and we stand firmly in who we are, and everything's going to work itself out. We just got to go to the kids, truth, virtue, go get them, you fuckers, and then that's it. That's all we can do. We can't slay the fucking banks. We can't slay the military-industrial complex. We can't do that, but we can raise a generation of kids that will, and that's how you fucking fix the world. Anyways, that's my bully pulpit for the day. Bam, populism. Okay, I'm gonna go, Bree. I hope you take care. Take care of yourself. I love you. Let's talk soon. I am with you, brother, and rake your volcanoes. I will rake the fuck out of my volcanoes. And Dad, if you watch this, I bet you turned it off because I'm swearing too much. Anyways, love you guys. Take care of yourself. God bless. Be safe and vanquish evil.